The ramifications globally, if Putin wins, could be catastrophic, will be catastrophic.
Ukraine cast from BBC News.
Ukraine must win this war. As has been said by others, failure to do so would result in severe consequences for NATO and the rest of the world. If Ukraine concedes 1 inch of land to Russia, then Putin and our other enemies in China and Iran would draw the inevitable conclusion that the West simply isn't up to the task or has the willpower to defend our freedom or protect our way of life.
That is Jack Lopresti, the then Conservative MP for Filton and Bradley Stoke, which is in South Gloucestershire, which for our listeners around the world is a county in England. That was Mr Lopresti speaking in the House of Commons at Westminster in May 2024. Just over a month or so later, he lost his seat in the UK election and is now serving in the Ukrainian military. And we can talk to him. He's in Kyiv. Hello, Jack. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. Thanks for having me on.
No, thank you very much for talking to us and our listeners around the world. And it's probably worth explaining to our listeners which bit of the military in Ukraine you've joined.
Yes, I've joined the International Legion, which is non-Ukrainian volunteers. I have a specific role, which is foreign affairs, diplomacy, helping with weapons procurement, and I'm doing some work with some charities here and work with Ukrainian veterans. So it's quite a varied role, really.
And why did you make the decision to go out there?
It's interesting that you should play that clip because I also said in that was the last speech I made, I think, in the House of Commons, that the defence of the UK starts in Ukraine. So I think people do realise generally that this is a fight for Europe, and as I mentioned in my remarks, for the security of the world, and for freedom and for the survival of the Ukrainian nation as a free and independent country. So I felt for a long time, I did a lot of work in Parliament for the last couple of years for Ukraine, that if I didn't get re-elected, that I would end up being here full-time, helping, and I probably would end up in the military, which is what's happened in the end.
You know what the Foreign Office advice was for UK citizens travelling to Ukraine. I'm going to quote it. If you travel to Ukraine to fight or to assist others engaged in war, your activities may amount to offences under UK legislation. You could be prosecuted on your return to the UK. Have you broken the law? Are you breaking the law?
When I was a member of Parliament, I had some communication with the Foreign Office not to travel here. I think that's a very old piece of legislation, and my understanding is that there hasn't been a prosecution or even an attempt at prosecution since the Spanish Civil War. I've met with Brits in the UK who've served with the Legion. They haven't been arrested. They're not under any threat of any sanction. I think the advice says may, but if you consider what we've done, we've trained over 50,000 Ukrainian troops so far. We've given nearly £9 million worth of military aid. We're doing a lot to help the Ukrainians in any way we can. I think that's extremely unlikely as a scenario.
You're one of many British nationals who've chosen to join the Ukrainian army.
I've met some British volunteers, and I've met some volunteers from other nations, and they all understand what they're doing and why we're here. This is our fight in the UK. It's not just, I can't reiterate that enough, this is not just about the Ukrainians.
Mm. So you say you know what they're doing there, you know why they're fighting. Russia calls them mercenaries.
Calls you a mercenary, a foreign mercenary.
Russia said a lot of things which we can discount. I mean, I'm not a mercenary. I've been enlisted into the Ukrainian military, officially and formally, so I'm not a mercenary. And you can dismiss most of what comes out of Russia in this sort of relation.
Can I ask you about the decision you made from a family point of view? You have 4 children. Do you mind me asking what their ages are?
No, not at all. 33, 30, 28 and 4.
Okay, so quite a wide age range there. Yeah. What do they think of what you've done?
What do they think? Well, I mean, I'm very lucky that I've got a very supportive family and friends. I think they have concerns. Obviously, the youngest is not aware of, the huge significance of what I'm doing. But we speak regularly. I spoke to Clifford last week. He asked me how things were going in Ukraine. Bless him. One of my other sons is in the UK military. I think they understand what I'm here for, and there haven't been any sort of issues or arguments. They've been, I think, broadly supportive, to be honest.
Well, this isn't the most cheerful time to be in Ukraine, is it? The Russians are advancing. What's the mood like?
We know it's difficult. We know it's tough. But I can only look back and think I just wish us in the West would have given them what they needed 2 or 3 years ago, and they could have beaten the Russians out of Ukraine by now.
In terms of the purpose in your life, in terms of meaning in your life, and you may hate this question, Jack, but how does what you're doing now compare to being an elected member of Parliament when you are serving your constituents?
Well, it's still a form of public service. I'm still doing what I think is right. I'm still helping. I'm still serving other people. I mean, I've always believed in the honour of public service, and I'm very honoured that I'm able to come and I'm able to help. I mean, this is a fight for Europe, for democracy, for freedom. And, as you played earlier on, I've forgotten some of those remarks. The ramifications globally, if Putin wins, could be catastrophic, will be catastrophic.
How long are you planning to stay in Ukraine?
As long as I'm needed. As long as I'm needed.
Ukraine cast from BBC News.